12 envelopes on a kitchen table, same size, same logo, all 12, still sealed. Margaret's 68. She stopped opening those the month she retired, 3 years ago. The day she left the library, her retirement account said $520,000. She hasn't touched a cent since. Today, it says 547,000. Higher, she calls it peace. There's one number about people like Margaret nobody has said out loud to her. These 1 in 3 American retirees end up with more money than they started with. Read that again. More, not less. Is that the retirement she chose or the one she's hiding in? Tonight, at Margaret's kitchen table, she'll find out. It's Tuesday. Margaret didn't set out to be an example of anything. Retired librarian, small town outside Cleveland, widowed 5 years, 2 grown kids, grandkids in Portland. She retired at 65 with a rollover from her 403B, $520,000. Social Security, a small pension from the school district. On paper, plenty to cover the bills every month with room to spare. House is paid off. For 3 years now, she's been doing exactly what all those YouTube videos told her to do. You know, the ones about the 10 things retirees just stopped caring about. Honestly, they were right. She dropped 4 streaming subscriptions in the first 2 months. Didn't miss them. Her Toyota is 12 years old and still fine. Her neighbor bought a recreational vehicle the size of a small yacht. Margaret watched it back into the driveway, thought quietly, good for them, and went inside to make a sandwich. She stopped arguing on Facebook, picked up Middlemarch again, the one she abandoned in 1988. She's 140 pages in. Said no to a wedding in Naples last spring, $2,000 round trip, sent a card and a check and stayed home and didn't feel guilty for a minute. Julia calls her calm, calmest person she knows. One more thing. She clips coupons out of the Sunday paper. Still. Even though she cancelled the paper 4 years ago, stack of them in a kitchen drawer. She doesn't use them. She doesn't throw them out. She wouldn't know how to explain it if you asked. Nobody's asked. Margaret nods when she hears the line, quote, "You can drop every single one of these today for free." She believes it. Feels lighter than she has in years. I want to be fair here. That's real. Margaret genuinely does not care about a lot of what she used to spend energy on. 8 of the 10 items on that list she checked off without trying, without even noticing. 2 items are different from the other 8. 2 of them aren't about a subscription or an opinion or a wedding. They're about money, actual money, money that shows up in a bank account. In 3 years, nobody has ever sat Margaret down and asked her about those 2. Not once. That's the setup. It's a Tuesday in October. Not a special Tuesday. Chicken in the oven, porch light on. Margaret's on the couch with her iPad. Her daughter Sarah calls on FaceTime. Sarah's 51, lives in Portland, has an 8-year-old named Emma who calls Margaret Grandma Marg. "Mom," Sarah says. "Thanksgiving's in 3 weeks. Let me buy your ticket," Emma keeps asking. Margaret answers before Sarah's even finished. "No, sweetheart, you come here. It's easier." Sarah pauses. Careful. "Mum, it's $600, round trip. You can afford it." Margaret says, quietly, "Let's save that for something." Sarah doesn't push. She never does. They talk about Emma's soccer. They hang up. Margaret puts the iPad down, not gently, sits there, and she does something she hasn't done in years. Counts. Last year. Sarah turned 50 in North Carolina. Sarah's friends rented a beach house. Sarah's exact words, "Mum, please, we all want you there." Margaret said, quote, "Let's save that for something." 2 years ago, Julia, closest friend since college, invited her on an Alaska cruise. Julia paid the deposit already. Margaret said, "Let's save that for something," 3 years back. The month she retired, Sarah asked her, gently, if she'd think about moving out to Portland. Small apartment near Emma's school. Margaret said, "Let's save that for something." 3 sentences, 3 years, 6 words. For what? Margaret gets up, walks into her husband's old study. His grey sweater is still on the desk chair, the one with the hole in the elbow. She hasn't moved it. That's not the point right now. She sits down at his computer, logs in. First time in 36 months. She stares. $547,318. $27,000 higher than the day she retired. She scrolls to her email, types Sarah's name, looking for something Sarah sent back in June. A link, a research summary, subject line, Mom, please read. Margaret ignored it then, opens it now. One sentence catches her eye. It's from an outfit called EBRI, the Employee Benefit Research Institute. They studied actual American retirees for actual years. Here's what they found. About 1 in 3 American retirees end up with more money after 18 to 20 years of retirement than they started with. Not less, more. Read that again. Margaret reads it 3 times, then leans back in her husband's chair. Slowly, she is not one of the exceptions. She is the average. The average, number 3, quietly, softly, in her own kitchen, is her. Here's what her body has been telling her, and she hasn't been listening. Every time Sarah says, come to Portland, every time Julia says, come on the cruise, every time the answer in her mouth is, let's save that for something, that something is a wall she's building brick by brick between herself and her own life, and she doesn't know what's behind it. Nothing's behind it. That's the whole thing. She sits with that a minute. Then she does what those YouTube videos never asked her to do. She names it. This has a name. It's called decumulation paralysis. Big, awful clinical word. In plain English, a human brain cannot picture 25 years of not getting a paycheck. It can't. Wasn't built for that. So when the paycheck stops, the brain does the only thing it knows. Stops the outflow, too. Builds a second, invisible paycheck by refusing to spend. And it dresses that refusal up in nice words. I don't need much. Simple is better. Let's save that for something. Every retiree feels this. 1 in 3 lets it run the rest of their life. This isn't weakness. It's the most human thing a brain does when it can't picture the future. Knowing its name is how she takes the wheel back. Margaret picks up a pen, grabs an envelope. On the back she writes, $547,318. Times 4%, that's Bill Bengen's rule from 1994, the one every honest advisor quietly uses, comes out to $21,893 a year. Divide by 12, $1,824 a month. That's what her own plan says she can spend every month. Not from Social Security, not from the pension, on top of both. Both of those already pay the property tax, the electric bill, and the chicken currently in the oven. $1,824 a month extra. Margaret puts the pen down, opens the iPad, types 4 words, flights Cleveland to Portland Thanksgiving, $612. She books it. She doesn't feel euphoric or guilty. She feels, this is the part nobody in the videos told her about, she feels quiet. A different quiet than the one she'd been living in. Not the quiet of an empty room, the quiet of one that finally has someone in it. Different quiet. Portland Airport. 3 weeks later, Emma sees Margaret coming down the arrival ramp and takes off running before Sarah can grab her hoodie. Full sprint. Slams into Margaret's legs. Doesn't let go. Sarah stays a few steps back. Doesn't say a word. Just watches. And Margaret figures out right there in an ugly beige airport with a small kid squeezing her knees, what she'd actually been saving all that money for wasn't a rainy day. There was no rainy day. It was this. And she was 3 years late, $612. If any of that landed for you, here are the things Margaret worked out on that Tuesday. Not because you're her, because you might be a little bit of her. Start with a 30-second test. Name 3 purchases you stopped making in the last 12 months. Out loud, specifically. If you can, good, you're free of those things. If you can't, you haven't stopped caring. You've stopped deciding. Those are different. Then flip it. Name 3 things you could pay for this month and are choosing not to. If the reason is, let's save that for something with no specific something. That's not virtue. That's the paralysis wearing virtue's clothes. EBRI's own survey found this. 38% of retirees hold money for unexpected costs. 33% to leave a legacy, 31% because a big balance just feels better. Only 27% say they're actually afraid of running out. Most of us aren't hoarding because we need to. We're hoarding because we don't have permission not to. One free test: take Social Security, add pension, subtract the basics: housing, food, medicine, utilities. If the number is positive, a lot of what you're not spending money on is genuinely free to walk away from. If it's negative or right at zero, some things on those 10 things lists are luxuries dressed up as wisdom. Know which one you are. That matters. Now, if you're 50 to 65 and not retired yet, the median household your age has $185,000 saved. Federal Reserve, 2022. Chasing every dollar isn't a character flaw for you. It's still a math problem. Please don't let a YouTube video tell you it's philosophy. And if you're 65 plus and have enough, do Margaret's envelope. Pen, paper. Balance times 4% divided by 12. That's the monthly number your own plan says you're allowed to spend. Compare it to what you actually spend. The gap isn't proof of your discipline. The gap is the ticket to Portland you never booked. Margaret didn't change her whole life after that Tuesday. Kept the Camry, kept ignoring Facebook, didn't suddenly start buying handbags. She changed exactly one thing. The question, she used to ask, should I spend this? Now she asks, if I don't spend this, what am I protecting myself from? That was the shift. And the 12 envelopes on her kitchen table, she opened all of them over the next 2 weekends. Nothing bad happened. If any of that sounds like you, the let's save that for something reflex, the unopened statements, the trips you keep pushing to next year, here's what the next move isn't: running out and spending money. It's Margaret's envelope. Pen, paper, balance times 4% divided by 12. That's the number your own plan says you're allowed to spend on top of Social Security, on top of pension. Not tomorrow, this month, next week. If that number is bigger than what you're actually spending, we'll talk about the gap. I'll show you how to turn it into a withdrawal plan that doesn't feel like betrayal. If you want it, subscribe. If you know someone quietly hoarding, someone who says, let's save that for something every time family asks, send them this. That's the whole ask. One last thing. This is for education and entertainment only, not financial advice. Every situation's different. For yours, talk to a fiduciary advisor, a CPA, or the SSA directly. The numbers I quoted, 1 in 3, the median at 185,000. All of it linked in the description from EBRI, from the Federal Reserve, public data. Check everyone. The good china is in your cabinet. Go get it. See you next time.